The world as it stands today is full of competing ideologies, ways of living, and competing versions of truth. In such a world, a man is forced to confront the question, how should he behave? Should he be passive or should he be aggressive? These terms have been used in ways that paint them as opposites, as if you must choose one or the other, but I think that's too simplistic, too limiting. I want to take a step back and examine what these terms really mean, not just in the broad theoretical sense, but in practical, personal, and real-world terms. First, let's define what we mean by passive and aggressive. To be passive is often to be compliant, to allow things to happen to you rather than taking control of your destiny. To be passive is to avoid conflict, to avoid confrontation, and perhaps even to avoid responsibility. Now, there are certainly situations in life where being passive can be a strength. There are moments where patient silence or withdrawing from conflict is the wisest course of action. But let me be clear, being passive by default, avoiding life struggles and challenges, is not a route to success. On the other hand, aggression is often associated with hostility and domination. To be aggressive is to seize control, to take what you want by force, and to leave a trail of destruction in your wake. A true aggression is not mindless, it is directed, purposeful, and focused. To be aggressive in the right circumstances is not about harming others. It's about standing your ground, asserting your will, and pushing through the resistance that inevitably arises in life. True aggression requires courage, discipline, and a deep sense of purpose. Passivity at its core is the state of being compliant or yielding to the world around you. It often manifests as avoiding conflict, refraining from standing up for what you believe in, or retreating when confronted with challenges. It can appear as a form of peacekeeping, where a person prioritizes avoiding confrontation over asserting their own thoughts or desires. Many people are passive because they fear the consequences of engaging with the complexities of life. They think that by stepping back, by remaining silent, they are ensuring peace. But this kind of peace comes at a cost. A life lived passively often leads to unfulfilled potential, resentment, and a nagging feeling that something important is missing. It's easy to slip into passivity because it requires less immediate effort. But this approach won't lead to the success and purpose that a man is capable of achieving. Aggression, on the other hand, is the direct opposite. To be aggressive means to assert control, to push forward even when the world around you pushes back. And it's about standing your ground and fighting for what you believe is right, regardless of the obstacles. But aggression is not just about brute force, it's about purpose and direction. A man must act with intention, guided by a clear understanding of what he stands for. True aggression is not mindless or reckless, it's deliberate and thoughtful. It comes from a place of strength and clarity, not from anger or impulsivity. To be aggressive in the right way is to take charge of your life, to make your voice heard, and to ensure that your actions align with your core values. However, while aggression is often perceived as an external force, it starts internally. A man must first understand himself before he can assert himself in the world. You cannot lead others or face external challenges effectively if you haven't confronted the internal obstacles within yourself. Aggression doesn't mean forcing your way through life with no consideration for others. It means pushing past your own self-doubt, your own fears, and the limited beliefs that hold you back from being the person you be. To be aggressive in this sense, to tap into your own power, to stop waiting for permission to act, and to start taking responsibility for your own destiny. But it's important to realize that aggression isn't always the right response. There are moments when the wise course of action is not to assert yourself aggressively, but rather step back, observe, and listen. Sometimes the world demands patience and humility, and responding aggressively in these moments can cause uneasy cosmos. Understanding when to be passive and when to be aggressive requires discernment. This is where the balance between the two comes into play. A man who knows when to act and when to hold back demonstrates not just power, but wisdom. It's the art of knowing that sometimes the best way to assert yourself is not through immediate action, but through waiting for the right opportunity to strike. This understanding is crucial. You see, the real challenge in life isn't simply about choosing between passivity and aggression. It's about knowing how to navigate the fine line between the two. When you can understand that passivity and aggression are not opposites, but complementary forces, unlock the power to choose the right approach for each moment. It's about using your aggression wisely, knowing when to step forward and when to step back. And it's about recognizing that the strength to act comes from knowing when not to act. That is where true power lies. And when you combine this with self-awareness, you have the potential to move through life with a sense of purpose and direction, not reacting blindly to the chaos around you, but instead shaping your path with intention. There's a common misconception that passivity is a form of weakness, that to be passive is to avoid life's jizz and to surrender control. But in reality, there are moments in life when being passive is a true strength. Take, for example, the chaotic moments when everything around you seems to be spinning out of control. It's easy to react impulsively, to leap into action without thinking. But sometimes that initial rush to act only makes things worse. In these moments, The strength of passivity lies in the ability to wait, to observe, and to listen before taking any steps forward. When the storm of life is at its fiercest, the wise man understands that rushing in without clear direction only leads to confusion and further turmoil. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to remain still, to gather your thoughts, and to assess the situation before reacting. Waiting is not a sign of fear or inaction. It's a form of strategic patience. Patience is an underrated virtue, especially in today's world where everything is immediate and fast-paced. We are conditioned to expect quick results, to act impulsively, and to make snap decisions. But when you take a step back and allow things to unfold in their own time, you open yourself up to deeper insights. You allow the complexities of life to reveal themselves fully. By stepping back and observing, you can often see patterns or truths that are not immediately obvious. It's like watching a chess game unfold while others are moving hastily. You can take the time to think several steps ahead, to understand the picture. And that foresight comes from the strength to pause, to resist the temptation to react prematurely, and to wait for the right moment. Passivity also allows you to listen, to truly listen. And I mean this in the most profound sense. Listening is not just about hearing the words people say. It's about understanding the underlying messages, the motivations, the emotions that drive those words. When you engage passively, you give others the space to express themselves, and that often leads to revelations you might otherwise miss. And this kind of listening requires humility, the willingness to be open to others' perspectives without immediately formulating your response. The ability to listen deeply, to hold your own judgment, and to let others' thoughts percolate can lead to far more informed decisions and more meaningful connections. In many cases, it's the silent listener who gains the most insight. Moreover, there's strength in choosing when not to engage in conflict. Life is filled with distractions, impressions, and provocations. It's easy to be pulled into every argument, to react to every insult, and to engage in every debate. But this only serves to drain your energy and focus. Knowing when to remain passive, when not to respond to every challenge or every negative comment, is a mark of true strength. It takes a secure sense of self to recognize that not every battle is worth fighting, that sometimes walking away is the most powerful statement you can make. When you resist the urge to engage in petty conflicts, you save your energy for what truly matters. You reserve your strength for the moments that require your aggression, your assertiveness, and your will to act. This approach to passivity can be transformative. Instead of acting out of frustration or impulsivity, you act out of clear intention with greater clarity and focus. In fact, waiting and observing often lead to better action. When you take the time to pause, to reflect, and to listen, your decisions are more grounded, more thoughtful, and ultimately more effective. And it's this kind of strategic passivity that can give you an edge in life. While others rush in blindly, you stand strong, observing, waiting for the precise moment to make your move. This is the true strength of passivity, the strength of patience, the strength of quiet observation, and the strength of knowing when to act. There is a significant danger in adopting passivity as your default mode of living. Life is complex, and while there are times when passivity can be a strength, to be passive all the time leads to stagnation. It leads to mediocrity, to existing rather than truly living. If you choose to avoid conflict, evade responsibility, and refrain from engaging with life's challenges out of a fear of discomfort or difficulty, you will find yourself stuck in a rut. You will find that your days pass by in a blur, with little to show for them. The world demands that we actively engage with it. If you withdraw from that engagement, you miss the chance to develop, to grow, and to make a meaningful impact in your own life and in the lives of others. The danger of default passivity is that it robs you of purpose. Life without purpose is a life in limbo, a life that drifts along with no direction or intent. If you passively accept whatever comes your way without challenging yourself or striving towards something greater, you diminish your own potential. We are designed for growth, for transformation. The human spirit craves a sense of progress. When you fail to take action to assert your shelf, you deny yourself the possibility of real achievement and fulfillment. A passive life often leads to a life of complacency, where you are content to let circumstances dictate your choices, rather than actively shaping your own destiny. This leads to a dull existence where nothing changes and nothing improves. When passivity becomes the default, it also creates a sense of powerlessness. You become disconnected from your own ability to affect change in your life. Instead of taking responsibility for your actions, you start to view yourself as a passive observer, someone who is at the mercy of external forces. This feeling of powerlessness is dangerous because it fosters a victim mentality. But you begin to believe that you have no control over your life, that your circumstances are the result of forces beyond your control. But the truth is, even when life is difficult, we always have some degree of control. When we default to passivity, we relinquish that control. And in doing so, we give up the most fundamental power we have, the power to shape our own future. Moreover, living passively leads to a deep sense of dissatisfaction. You may find yourself looking back on your life and asking, what have I truly achieved? If you're constantly passive, always waiting for things to happen or for the world to change for you, you end up with little to show for the time that has passed. Your dreams, goals, and ambitions are left unrealized. With the courage to take risks, to challenge the status quo, or to take the first step toward just the rations is acting first to mediocrity. And as time goes on, that sense of dissatisfaction grows, leading to frustration, regret, and often bitterness. Mediocrity is the enemy of fulfillment. To live fully, you must step out of passivity and actively engage with life's challenges. What's more, default passivity isolates you from others and connections. A life is not meant to be lived in isolation. By avoiding conflict, by failing to assert yourself in relationships, and by refusing to speak up when necessary, you create emotional distance between yourself and others. Meaningful relationships require effort. They require you to show up, to be present, and to engage with others in meaningful ways. When you hide behind passivity, you close yourself off from the deep, rich connections that can make life truly rewarding. Relationships grow through mutual engagement, through moments of vulnerability, challenge, and action. Passivity, however, keeps you locked in your own bubble, preventing you from connecting at the level necessary for growth and fulfillment. This is where the danger of default passivity truly becomes apparent. While passivity may seem like a safer or easier route to enter, it creates a life devoid of growth, achievement, and connection. To live fully and meaningfully, a man must move beyond passivity and embrace action, assertiveness, and engagement with life's challenges. And while aggression has its place, it is equally essential to recognize that you cannot afford to live passively, to let time slip by without truly engaging in the process of becoming the person you are meant to be. Aggression, in its true form, is not about mindless violence or a destructive urge to harm others. This is a misunderstanding that often leads people to reject aggression altogether, associated with rage, conflict, and chaos. A true aggression is far more sophisticated than that. It is about standing up for yourself, asserting your right to exist, to speak, and to pursue your goals. It is the willingness to say, I am here, I matter, and I will not let life or others trample on me. True aggression is rooted in a deep sense of self-worth and purpose. It is not about dominating others, but about making sure that your own path is not dictated by fear, uncertainty, or passivity. To stand up for yourself is to acknowledge your own value and the importance of protecting it, not just for your own sake, but for the sake of others who will benefit from the example you set. Setting boundaries is a fundamental aspect of true aggression. Life will inevitably challenge your sense of self, and without clear boundaries, it's easy to be overwhelmed, manipulated, or lost in the demands of others. Aggression allows you to draw those boundaries with confidence. You must be willing to say no when necessary, to resist pressure, and to protect your time, energy, and values. This does not mean being combative or obstinate for the sake of conflict. It means respecting yourself enough to know where you end and where others begin. Without boundaries, you invite chaos into your life, but with aggression, you claim your space, your time, and your life back. You preserve your dignity and integrity, which are non-negotiable. True aggression is also about pushing through resistance with courage and purpose. A life is filled with obstacles, both internal and external. Resistance shows up in many forms: doubt, fear, criticism, hardship, and it often tempts us to stop, to shrink, or to retreat. But real aggression is about meeting that resistance head on with determination and resolve. It's about saying, yes, this is hard, but I will not back down. I will push through. The act of pushing through is where growth happens. When you face resistance, you either break under it or become stronger. The courage to face adversity, to take on the challenge, to engage fully with the difficulties of life, that is what true aggression embodies. It is the courage to act in the face of fear, to rise despite the hardships. Moreover, aggression in its true form is not reckless, it is purposeful. It is about having a clear sense of direction, of vision, and a willingness to act in alignment with that vision. True aggression is discipline. It's not about random acts of force, or impulsive decisions, but about taking deliberate actions to push yourself forward even when the path is tough. It requires understanding that the act of aggression is a tool for moving towards something greater, not just for creating chaos or seeking victory. The focus of true aggression is on creating something meaningful, on moving toward your goals and values with strength and clarity. It's an expression of power used with wisdom, not unchecked or irrational. As we look deeper into the power of aggression, it becomes clear that aggression is not the opposite of passivity, but the necessary complement. Where passivity may be appropriate at times, aggression is required to push forward and carve out the life you want. To stand up, to take control, and to assert your boundaries is an essential part of becoming who you truly are. Aggression gives you the power to make your dreams a reality, to pursue what you want in life, and to overcome obstacles that would otherwise hold you back. Without aggression, you risk remaining stagnant, drifting aimlessly through life and allowing others to dictate your story. With aggression, however, you step into your power, seize control, and push forward with purpose, knowing that you have the strength to confront whatever challenges arise along the way. To navigate life effectively, a man must understand that passivity and aggression are not opposing forces to be chosen between. They are both necessary aspects of human behavior, and it's not about adhering strictly to one or the other, but rather about knowing when to apply each one. There is a profound wisdom in recognizing that life is not a one-size-fits-all scenario. Some situations require patience, reflection, and a passive approach, while others demand assertiveness, action, and aggression. The challenge lies in understanding which of these approaches is most appropriate for the moment. But it's not about rejecting one in favor of the other, but about knowing when to choose each strategy with clarity and purpose. Wisdom, therefore, becomes the key to balancing passivity and aggression. A man must cultivate self-awareness to understand when it's time to step back and when it's time to move forward. There are moments in life where the right thing to do is to stay quiet, to listen, and to wait for things to reveal themselves. In these moments, passivity is the wiser course of action, as it allows time to assess the situation, gather information, and make a more informed decision. On the other hand, there are moments when a man must speak out, take action, and assert himself with aggression to defend his values, to set boundaries, or overcome an obstacle. The key is recognizing that wisdom is not about passivity or aggression in isolation. It's about integrating both strategies into a unified approach to life. This balance is not easy to achieve, and it requires conscious effort and discipline. Too much passivity, and a man risks becoming stagnant, allowing life to pass him by without taking charge of his own destiny. Too much aggression, and he may alienate others, create unnecessary conflict, or act impulsively without considering the long-term consequences of his actions. And the balance between the two is subtle, but it is this delicate dance that allows a man to navigate the complexities of life effectively. It's a process of trial and error, of learning from the moments when you acted too passively and when you were too aggressive. Over time, you develop the ability to respond to the world with precision and intentionality. What is essential in maintaining this balance is emotional regulation and maturity. A man who is emotionally immature may swing too far in one direction or the other, acting passively when aggression is needed, or aggressively when passivity is the wiser choice. Emotional maturity involves understanding your own emotional responses and knowing how to manage them in the context of the situation. It requires patience with yourself and others, the ability to pause and reflect before reacting. When you can manage your emotions, you gain the clarity needed to make decisions that reflect both your values and your understanding of the situation at hand. This emotional intelligence is what allows you to know when to be passive, when to be aggressive, and when to apply a blend of both. Therefore, the goal is not to choose one approach over the other, but to cultivate the wisdom, awareness, and emotional maturity to use both passivity and aggression at the right times. A man who understands this balance has the ability to navigate the world with confidence, integrity, and resilience. He knows when to speak, when to act, and when to wait. always guided by a deeper sense of purpose and self-awareness. This balance is the foundation of a life lived fully, one that is neither passive nor aggressive, but a blend of both, shaped by wisdom, awareness, and the courage to embrace whatever life presents in each moment. To be passive in the right moments is not an easy task, and it requires a deep inner strength. It's tempting in the face of challenge or conflict to react impulsively, to jump into action, to fight back, or to speak out before fully understanding the situation. A true passivity, the kind that comes from wisdom and inner strength, is not about avoidance or fear. It's about choosing not to act in haste, about resisting the primal urge to control or fix things immediately. And the strength to be passive is not the absence of power, rather it's the presence of discipline, patience, and self-awareness. It takes strength to know that some moments require silence, observation, and listening rather than impulsive action. An ability to resist acting impulsively stems from understanding the consequences of your actions. When you act too quickly without fully considering the situation, you often create more problems than solutions. By pausing, by choosing passivity, you give yourself the opportunity to think, to reflect, and to respond with greater clarity. This requires a kind of mental fortitude, the strength to sit with discomfort, to allow your emotions to settle, and to avoid rushing into decisions that may be driven by fear, anger, or frustration. It's in those moments when you are most tempted to react that the strength of passivity becomes most valuable. Instead of rushing into something you might regret, you take the time to breathe, to understand the broader context, and to make a more thoughtful, measured decision. Moreover, the strength to be passive in the right moments also comes from a deep understanding of the long-term consequences of your actions. There are times when acting impulsively feels good in the short term. It may feel like a release of tension, a way to exert control over a situation. But in the grand scheme of things, those impulsive actions often lead to regret, damage relationships, or create unnecessary conflict. To be passive in those moments is to recognize that sometimes inaction is the wisest course, that stepping back and allowing things to unfold is far more powerful than jumping into the fray. This kind of strength is rooted in a belief that some battles are better left unfought, and that the greatest growth often comes from those moments of restraint and observation. This inner strength to be passive also reflects a deep trust in the process of life. It's an acknowledgement that things don't always need to be forced or controlled. There is an inherent wisdom in the universe, in the natural flow of events, and sometimes the best thing you can do is to step aside and allow things to unfold on their own. Trusting that life has its own rhythm, that there are moments when action is not necessary, requires a strength of character that is often underappreciated. Many people are afraid to trust in the natural order of things because they believe that they must always be in control. But true strength lies in knowing not to act, when to allow things to take their course, and when to trust the timing of life. And the key to understanding when to act is rooted in knowing yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, your triggers, and your values. When you are aware of these elements, you can approach based on the situation you are in. If you are overwhelmed by emotion, by fear or anger, your judgment will likely cloud it. But when you take a step back, give yourself the space to breathe and assess the context, you can then choose the appropriate response. Self-awareness helps you recognize when your emotions are driving your actions, and it gives you the ability to pause, reflect, and choose whether passivity or aggression is the best course. This practice of reflection not only empowers you to act wisely, but also prevents rash, impulsive decisions that could lead to regret. Another vital element in understanding when to act is understanding your circumstances. The external environment plays a critical role in determining whether you should act passively or aggressively. For example, if you are in a situation where aggression is likely to escalate a conflict or create unnecessary harm, then passivity might be the wiser option. On the other hand, if you are facing a challenge that requires you to assert yourself, whether it's standing up for your values, defending your boundaries, or pushing through an obstacle, aggression can be the right choice. Your environment will dictate the level of force required, and it's important to recognize those dynamics. Recognizing when to act based on the circumstances means considering the risks, the benefits, and the potential consequences of each response. Self-reflection also involves learning from past experiences. When you've encountered similar situations before, you gain valuable insight into what approach was most effective. Over time, as you practice self-awareness and reflection, you begin to notice patterns in how you react and what outcomes arise from your actions. This pattern recognition allows you to refine your judgment and improve your decision-making over time. Reflection isn't just about understanding past actions, but about actively learning from them so you can make better choices in the future. It's through this continual process of learning that you begin to recognize when to apply passivity and when to engage in purposeful aggression. On the process of understanding when to act requires patience and humility. You must be patient enough to take a step back and think before responding to any situation, and humble enough to accept that you may not always get it right. There will be moments when you overreact with aggression when passivity would have served you better, or vice versa. But through continuous self-awareness, self-reflection, and honest assessment of your circumstances, you will gradually develop the ability to act with wisdom. And this wisdom over time will help you navigate life's complexities with greater ease and effectiveness, knowing when to step forward with aggression and when to stand back with patience and restraint. Taking ownership of your life means stepping into your full potential, understanding that your actions and choices are your own responsibility. It's about taking control of your destiny rather than letting the whims of the world dictate your every move. One of the key components of ownership is understanding when to act with passivity and when to assert aggressively. By developing the wisdom to know the difference, you are no longer at the mercy of external circumstances. Instead, you are in charge of how you respond to the world around you. This self-control allows you to shape your life rather than be shaped by it. It's through this process that you begin to carve out your own path with purpose and intention rather than passively drifting along. Taking ownership is not about being passive in all circumstances, nor is it about aggression in every situation. It is about mastering the balance between the two and knowing when each approach is appropriate. When you act passively, it is not from weakness, but from strength. You understand the power of waiting, observing, and allowing things to unfold. This passive response allows you to gain insight and avoid unnecessary conflict. When you choose aggression, it is not about domination or mindless confrontation, but about asserting yourself and taking control of situations that require action. You don't let the chaos of the world push you into decisions. Instead, you actively choose the choose bonds, taking ownership of the direction your life is heading. By understanding when to act passively and when to be aggressive, you position yourself to be proactive rather than reactive. Too many people live reactively, letting the circumstances of their lives dictate their actions. They are swept along by the currents of others' expectations, emotions, or the external pressures of life. But when you take ownership of your life, you stop letting the world control you. Instead, you become the driver of your own existence. Whether you choose passivity or aggression, your actions are grounded in a deep understanding of your goals, your values, and your purpose. This mind shift is what enables you to take full responsibility for your life, no longer allowing outside forces to manipulate your decisions. Ownership also involves recognizing your power to influence the world around you. When you are passive in the right moments, you gain insight and wisdom, preparing for when action is required. When you choose aggression, it comes from a place of confidence and clarity, knowing that your actions are in alignment with your purpose. This awareness allows you to move through life with intention and impact. Taking ownership of your life means being active in shaping the world around you rather than passively accepting whatever comes your way. But it's not about controlling everything, but about recognizing the opportunities in each situation and responding in a way that reflects your values and goals. As you continue to take ownership of your life, you will find that you develop a greater sense of confidence and resilience. Life will inevitably present challenges, but when you take responsibility for how you respond, you gain the power to navigate them with grace and strength. And whether you need to stand your ground with aggression or step back with passive observation, you will have the clarity and control to handle it. Through this continual process of taking ownership, you not only create a life that is more intentional, but you also create a life of greater fulfillment, knowing that you are in control of your destiny. Aggression, when understood correctly, is not a negative force, but a powerful tool for asserting your self-worth and standing firm in your values. True aggression is about having the courage to show the world that you will not be moved from your purpose, no matter the challenges you face. It is about claiming your space and asserting your right to exist as the person you are, with the values, boundaries, and goals that define you. In a world that often tries to impose its will on you, asserting your self-worth through controlled aggression allows you to navigate life with the confidence that you are unapologetically true to yourself. This kind of aggression does not seek to harm or dominate others. Instead, it seeks to protect your own integrity and ensure that your voice is heard. At its core, aggression and self-assertion is about having the strength to say no when necessary and yes when it aligns with your goals. It is the recognition that your time, energy, and attention are valuable and that you must guard them with intention. When you assert yourself, you are setting boundaries that protect your ability to move forward in life. By expressing your needs and desires clearly, you give the world the message that you are someone worthy of respect, someone whose actions and words matter. This form of aggression is not about confrontation for the sake of conflict. It is about creating clarity in your life and ensuring that you are not overlooked, dismissed, or silenced by external pressures. Assertive aggression also involves taking responsibility for your desires and acting in ways that reflect your pain. So it is not enough to have dreams and aspirations. You must be willing to take the necessary steps to make them a reality. When you assert yourself, you are not waiting for life to give you what you want. Instead, you are actively working toward your goals with determination and purpose. Will test your resolve, and it is in those moments that you must be aggressive in your pursuit in what you know is rightfully yours. Self-assertion through aggression is about recognizing that your goals are valid and worth fighting for, and that no one else has the right to undermine your efforts. This kind of aggression is rooted in clarity of purpose. It requires you to know who you are, what you stand for, and what you fight for. It is about making deliberate choices that are in alignment with your values and aspirations. And the more clearly you define your purpose, the more naturally your aggression will come forth as a force for good. When you're clear about your goals, aggression becomes a tool for pushing through resistance, overcoming obstacles, and proving to the world that you are here to stay. Without this kind of aggression, your desires may remain unfulfilled as external forces attempt to pull you off course or discourage you from pushing forward. However, when you assert your worth through controlled aggression, you demonstrate the unwavering commitment to your path. Asserting your self-worth through aggression is a fundamental aspect of personal growth. It is a way to ensure that your voice, your actions, and your intentions matter in a world that often demands conformity. By asserting yourself, you create space for your true self to thrive, free from the pressure of others' expectations. It is not about resisting change, but about ensuring that any changes you make align with your authentic self. True aggression is not about clinging to the past or avoiding challenges. It is about growing, evolving, and making a mark in the world with confidence. As you embrace this self-assertion, you will find that you are not only able to overcome resistance, but also to inspire others to do the same, creating a ripple effect of strength, purpose, and clarity in the world around you. Our life, by its very nature, presents challenges. It doesn't matter how prepared you are or how well you plan, difficulties will arise and obstacles will appear. However, what truly matters in those moments is not the nature of the challenges themselves, but how you respond to them. Life does not care whether you face its challenges passively or aggressively. It simply offers them to you. It is your response that defines the outcome. The world will throw its weight at you, and the way you melt will determine whether you grow or shrink from the experience. It is the courage to face these trials head on, without backing down or giving in, that will define your success or failure in life. When you face the world with courage, you understand that there are times to retreat and observe, and there are times to push forward and assert your boundaries. Courage does not mean charging into every battle without thought. Rather, it means having the wisdom to choose when to be passive and when to be aggressive. There are moments in life when stepping back, observing, and reflecting on your situation can bring clarity and insight. This passive approach requires great courage, as it often demands patience and self-control. Yet, at other times, you will be called upon to act aggressively, to stand firm, and to protect your values, your loved ones, and your future. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the ability to act with purpose and determination despite fear. In those moments, aggression is not a sign of anger or hostility, but a reflection of your ability to assert yourself in the face of adversity. However, your response to the world's challenges is a choice, and that choice is what shapes the trajectory of your life. When you passively accept things as they are, you may avoid conflict, but you also avoid growth. On the other hand, responding aggressively in the wrong context can lead to unnecessary harm and chaos. I knowing when to choose passivity and when to choose aggression requires you to stay grounded in self-awareness and purpose. This is where courage truly comes into play. It takes courage to pause and reflect before acting, and it takes courage to assert yourself when you feel vulnerable. Life will not always give you a clear-cut answer, but the more you cultivate the ability to assess and respond thoughtfully, the more successful you will be in navigating its challenges. As you learn to face the world with courage, you will start to notice that life becomes less overwhelming. Challenges are inevitable, but with each challenge, you gain strength and resilience. Each difficulty you face becomes an opportunity to assert your purpose, to refine your approach, and to reinforce your resolve. Courage is about turning obstacles into stepping stones, using both your passivity and aggression strategically to build a life of meaning and fulfillment. Life may test your limits, but if you meet it with courage, your boundaries expand and your capacity to thrive increases. Courage in the face of adversity is a powerful tool for personal transformation, allowing you to grow stronger, wiser, and more capable with every challenge you face. In this ongoing journey, it is essential to remember that courage does not mean never feeling fear or uncertainty. It means feeling those emotions and choosing to act anyway, with purpose and intention. Courage is the recognition that challenges are part of the human experience, and how you respond to them determines the quality of your life. Whether you approach them passively or aggressively, your ability to face the world with courage and clarity will dictate the direction you take. As you develop this strength within yourself, you will find that life's challenges become not roadblocks, but opportunities to rise above and move forward with even greater determination. Now that we've discussed the importance of knowing when to be passive and when to be aggressive, it's time to turn that knowledge into action. This is where the real work begins. Understanding the principles is one thing, but applying them in your daily life is where transformation happens. The world will test your resolve, but you must be ready to rise above mediocrity and choose the path of purpose and strength. Your life is in your hands, and the choices you make today will determine who you become tomorrow. So don't let this moment pass by without taking action. Use the insights you've gained to shape your decisions to create a life that is aligned with your true purpose. I remember it's not enough to just be aware of these principles. You must implement them with intention and discipline. One of the most powerful ways to continue your journey of self-improvement is to stay connected, to remain committed to your growth. This channel is a resource, a tool that can help guide you through the challenges you face and provide you with the motivation you need to stay on track. Subscribe and become part of this community of like-minded individuals who are committed to personal development, who are ready to take ownership of their lives. By subscribing, you're not just gaining access to content, you're making a commitment to yourself, to your growth, and to your future. Let this channel be a source of ongoing inspiration, a reminder that you are capable of achieving greatness when you stay disciplined and focused on your purpose. The journey toward becoming a person of purpose and strength is not easy. It requires consistency, resilience, and the willingness to face discomfort head on. And there will be times when you feel tempted to take the easier route, to avoid conflict, or to back down from your goals. But it's in those moments that you must remind yourself of the bigger picture. You are here to create a life of meaning, not to passively drift through existence. When you choose to engage with the world actively and with courage, you unlock your true potential. And in life, we want fulfillment, success, and purpose can only be achieved by embracing the challenges that come with it. Don't allow mediocrity to take root in your life. Push past it with purpose. As you commit to taking action, remember that the first step is often the hardest. And it's the small, consistent actions that build momentum over time. Don't expect overnight results. Success is built day by day, decision by decision. The more you apply the principles of knowing when to be passive and when to assert yourself aggressively, the more natural it becomes. On the fear of failure, the doubt that may try to creep in, these are just temporary obstacles that can be overcome with perseverance. The key is to keep moving forward, to stay connected to your purpose, and to never let the challenges of life stop you from becoming the best version of yourself. In the end, the power to rise above mediocrity and become a person of purpose and strength lies within you. And you have the ability to shape your future, to take control of your destiny, and to become the man you were meant to be. And you must take that first step, make the conscious decision to act, and commit to your own development. Stay connected, keep learning, and continue to push forward, knowing that each step you take brings you closer to your true potential. Take action now, and remember that every moment is an opportunity to grow, to assert yourself, and to live a life of meaning and strength. I know this might sound like a lot to take in, but the truth is the world doesn't care about your comfort. It doesn't care about your passive tendencies. It will throw challenges, hardships, and struggles your way, whether you're ready or not. But it's up to you how you respond. Will you retreat into passivity, or will you rise up with aggression and fight for your place in this world? That's the challenge before you. Now, I know many of you are looking for direction, looking for answers. That's why I'm here to help guide you through the chaos, to help you find that balance between passivity and aggression. But here's the thing, it's not enough to simply listen to my words. You have to take action. Or you have to be willing to face the world with courage and determination, to make the hard choices, to stand up for yourself and those you love, to fight for your purpose. And if you want more of this kind of guidance, if you want more inspiration to push you forward in your journey, I urge you to subscribe to this channel. Stay connected with me, because there's much more to come, more lessons, more insights, and more motivation to help you become the person you're capable of being. We're in this together, and I'm here to help you navigate this difficult and often confusing world. So as you go forward today, remember this: you are not weak. You are not destined to live a life of passivity. You are strong, you are capable. You are worthy of fighting for what you want, and you are worthy of living a life of purpose. But you must choose to act. You must choose to rise above the chaos and assert yourself in the world. Be passive when necessary, but aggressive when required. And never forget that you have the power to shape your own destiny. Thank you for listening. And remember, subscribe, stay connected, and keep pushing forward.